Of Hector's deeds did Homer sing in the sack of stately Troy, what griefs fair Helena did bring, which was Sir Paris's only joy. And by my mouth I will recite St. George's deeds an English knight. Against the Saracens so rude fought he full long and many a day, where many giants he subdued in honor of the Christian way. And after many adventures past, to Egypt land he came at last. Now as the story plainly tells, within that country did he rest, a dreadful dragon fierce and fell, who made the people sore oppressed, who by his poisonous breath each day did many of the city slay. The grief he brought did grow so great throughout the boundaries of the land, the people did their wizards entreat to show their cunning out of hand, what way they might this fiend destroy that did the country thus annoy. The wizards all before the king this answer framed crudely and blunt, the dragon none to death might bring by any means they could invent. His skin more hard than brass was found, no sword nor spear could pierce nor wound. When this the people understood, they cried out most piteously. The dragon's breath infected their blood, that every day in heaps they died. Among them such a plague it bred, the living scarce could bury the dead. No means there were, as they could hear, to slow or ease the dragon's rage, except the sight some virgin clear, whose blood his fury might assuage. Each day he would a maiden eat, to satisfy his hunger great. This thing by art the wizards found, which truly must observed be, wherefore throughout the city round a virgin pure of good degree was by the king's commission still taken up to serve the dragon's will. And so the dragon every day untimely cropped some virgin flower, till all the maids were worn away and none were left him to devour, saving the king's fair daughter bright, her father's only heart's delight. Then came the officers to the king that heavy message to declare, which did his heart with sorrow sting. "She is," he said, "my kingdom's heir. Oh, let us all be poisoned here ere should die, that is my dear." Then rose the people presently, and to the king in rage they went. They said his daughter dear should die, the dragon's fury to prevent. "Our daughters are all dead," said they, "and have been made the dragon's prey. And by their blood we rescued were, and you have saved your life thereby, and now behold it is but fair for us your daughter so should die." "Oh, save my daughter," said the king, "and let me feel the dragon's sting." Then fell fair Sabra on her knee, and to her father dear did say, "O father, do not fight for me, but let me be the dragon's prey. It may be, for my sake alone, this plague upon the land was thrown. 'Tis better I should die," she said, "than all your subjects die in night. Perhaps the dragon here was laid for my offence to work his spite. And after he hath sucked my gore, your land shall feel the grief no more." "What hast thou done, my daughter dear, for to deserve this heavy scourge? It is my fault, as may appear, which makes the gods our state to purge. Then shouldn't I die, to stint the strife, and to preserve thy happy life?" Like madmen all the people cried, "Thy death to us can do no good, our safety only does abide in making her the dragon's food." "Look, here I am, I come," said she, "therefore do what you will with me." "Nay, stay, dear daughter," said the queen, "and as you are a virgin bright, that has for virtue famous been, let me clothe thee all in white, and crown your head with flowers neat, an ornament for virgins sweet." And when she was attired so, according to her mother's mind, unto the stake then did she go, to which her tender limbs they bind. And being bound to stake a thrall, she bade farewell to one and all. "Farewell, father dear," said she, "and my sweet mother meek and mild. Take you no thought, nor weep for me, for you may have another child." Since for my country's good I die, willingly to the grave I fly. The king and queen with all their train, with weeping eyes went then their way, and let their daughter there remain, to be the hungry dragon's prey. But as she did there weeping lie, behold, St. George came riding by. And seeing there a lady bright, so rudely tied up to a stake, as well became a valiant knight, he straight to her his way did take. Tell me, sweet maiden, then said he, what coward thus abuseth thee? And lo, by Christ, his cross I vow, which here is figured on my breast, I will revenge it on his brow, and break my lance upon his chest. And speaking thus right, where he stood, the dragon issued from the wood. The lady then was first to spy the dreadful dragon coming so. To St. George aloud she did cry, and willed him away to go. Here comes that cursed fiend, said she, that soon will make an end of me. St. George then looking round about, the fiery dragon soon he spied, and like a knight of courage stout, against him did most furiously ride. And with such blows he did him greet, the worm fell beneath the horse's feet. For with his lance that was so strong, as he came gaping in dragon's face, in at his mouth George thrust along, for he could pierce no other place. And thus within the lady's view, this mighty dragon straight he slew. The stench of poisoned dragon's breath could do this holy knight no harm. Thus he the lady saved from death, and home he led her by the arm. Which when King Ptolemy did see, there was great mirth and melody. When as the valiant champion there had slain the dragon in the field, to court he brought the lady fair, which to their hearts much joy did yield. He in the court of Egypt stayed, till he most falsely was betrayed. That lady dearly loved the knight, he counted her his only joy, but when their love was brought to light, it nearly would them both destroy. The Moroccan king was in the court, who to their orchard did resort. Daily to take pleasant air, for pleasure's sake he used to walk. Under a wall he oft did hear St. George with Lady Sabra talk. Their love he showed unto the king, which to St. George great woe did bring. Those kings together did devise to make the Christian knight go away. With letters to him they did devise, and sent him out to Persia straightway. But wrote to the Persian king to kill, and treacherously his blood to spill. Thus they for good did him reward, and with evil and most subtlety. By much vile means they had regard, to work his death most cruelly. Who as through Persia land he rode, with zeal destroyed each idol god. For which offense he straight was thrown into a dungeon dark and deep, where when he thought his wrongs upon, he bitterly did wail and weep. Yet like a knight of courage stout, at length his way he dug right out. 3 grooms of the king of Persia by night this valiant champion slew, though he had fasted many a day, and then away from there he flew. On the best steed the Persian king had, which when he knew he was full mad. Towards Christendom George made his flight, and met a giant by the way, with whom in combat George did fight most valiantly a summer's day, who yet for all his clubs of steel was forced the sting of death to feel. Back o'er the seas, with many bands of warlike soldiers, soon he passed, vowing upon those heathen lands to work revenge, which at the last, ere thrice 3 years were gone and spent, he wrought unto his heart's content. Save only Egypt land he spared, for Sabra bright her only sake, and ere for her he had regard, he meant a trial kind to make. Meanwhile the king o'ercome in field, unto St. George did quickly yield. Then straight Morocco's king he slew, and took fair Sabra to his wife, but meant to try if she were true, ere with her he would lead his life. And though he had her in his train, she did a virgin pure remain. Toward England, then, that lovely dame, the brave St. George conducted straight. A eunuch also with them came, who did upon the lady wait. These three from Egypt went alone. Now mark St. George's valor shown. When as they in a forest were, the lady did desire to rest. Meanwhile St. George to kill a deer, for their repast did think it best, leaving her with the eunuch there, whilst he did go to kill the deer. But lo, all in his absence came 2 hungry lions fierce and fell, and tore the eunuch on the same, in pieces small, the truth to tell. Down by the lady then they laid, whereby they showed she was a maid. But when he came from hunting back, and did behold this heavy chance, then for his lovely virgin's sake his courage straight he did advance, and came into the lion's sight, who ran at him with all their might. Their rage did him no whit dismay, who like a stout and valiant knight did both the hungry lions slay within the Lady Sabra's sight, who all this while, sad and demure, there stood most like a virgin pure. Now when St. George did surely know this lady was a virgin true, his heart was glad that erst was woe, and all his love did soon renew. He set her on a palfrey steed, and towards England came with speed, where being in short space arrived unto his native dwelling place, therein with his dear love he lived, and fortune did his nuptials grace. They many years of joy did see, and led their lives at Coventry.